Hey everybody, my name is Luke Parisi. I'm the developer working on the game BattleCourt. This is the second devblog for the game. I'm putting this video up alongside just the gameplay video. The gameplay video is just to quickly show off what's currently in the game at this stage, and this video is just going more into depth of all that and what I'm planning before release. So release I'm trying to get out in about 2 weeks on March the 12th. That'll be open beta on Steam. And yeah, that's if everything goes to plan. You might have seen the gameplay video through IndieDB. That's where I plan to put it up, and yeah, on my YouTube as well. So with this video I'll go into it. So obviously I haven't done anything for the main menu except the options. You can adjust your resolution and everything as usual. I've still got to add the keybinds. So there'll be this page, and then I'll probably have tabs for keybinds, and probably move this to another sound tab, and also the effects. So obviously after long games there's going to be heaps of particle effects, blood effects on screen, so I want to give you the option obviously to disable it completely if you want, and yeah, but that'll be more done later. So going into the game, what you might have seen from the gameplay, I've got a transition phase, I'd call it, between each wave. And if you pause as well, or if you go into inventory or go into the options menu or tab out of the game, the music will pause, the game will pause. And I've done it this way because the wave timers I've got linked with kind of the duration of the music. So I want the sound, it goes for about a minute, the music, and I want that to play for the duration of the wave. Doesn't have to loop or anything, just plays that once and then the wave ends. So that's kind of what I've gone for there, and that's why it's this pause. So from the last video as well, I've added a heap. So there's these things which you can collide with, and you can actually warp through. And the lovely music for the first wave. We've got barrels, enemies. We've got our pickups. There's one of our friendly enemies. Now if he collides with you, does your hit damage and does a little bit of knockback. So all the enemies have a knockback as well, so there'll be stronger enemies. I've only got this one enemy type at this stage, but it's quick to add more, and how I've set up all the code and everything, it's very scalable quickly, and I've just got to make the artwork for them. And I've got a few different enemies in mind, like these are zombies, but there's going to be aliens and robots, I guess, and yeah, just funny little. So these enemies have just basic aim at you type AI. I wouldn't even call it AI, it's just getting your position and aiming at that. And then we've got things like these slowing fields. This is actually a collidable object as well. It's the same as these, like that's an invisible wall collidable, same with these fences. The difference as well, these fences have both player and enemy collision, whereas here has just the player collision. This is the type of music I'm going for most of the game. So depending on the enemy type as well, it'll be different type of the rock. So because the music I got, it was from a Humble Bundle audio mega pack that I bought. And that's got a heap of different music and sound effects, but I'm still using the sound morph sound effects for all the guns and everything. But the music is from that Humble Bundle audio pack. Now, there's 5 different of these rock type music, and that's going to change depending on the enemies. So, like, it does this sometimes if I'm trying to figure out that slowing down. I'm not sure why it does that. So yeah, and depending on the enemy, so this kind of rock, standard rock, is for the zombies, and then there's industrial rock, and that can be for the robots, and then there's more. I've got a few electronic type music, and that'll be for the aliens. That I think it suits those waves, and then maybe ghosts even. Yeah, got to figure that out as in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, this slowing field that slows you and the enemies as well. I haven't been shooting any enemies, just talking about everything at the moment. So enemies collide with these type of things as well, the trees. They can collide with the barrels, because the barrels are actually an enemy as well. They don't aim at you, you can't collide with them, so you can walk through them. The enemies can collide with them. I've just turned off player to that enemy collision, and yeah, they can't attack you, whereas the other enemies can. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of different guns. I've got to equip the freeze ray, but I was going to add the freeze ray so I could show that off. I did it in the because I'm recording this first, so I'll just make sure to do that in the gameplay video. But the freeze ray that you saw in that, so that applies, there's a different type of status effects for the enemy. At their current state, they're in state.normal. They could be state.frozen, state.on-fire, state.poisoned, and depending on their state, adjusts their move speed, and if they're on fire or poisoned, then they take damage over time based on the weapon that hit it. So there's some hydrogen Viper ion weapons that hit for a little bit of damage, but then the poison ticker does a lot more than the base hit damage. And then yeah, you'll see their character model changes based on their state as well. Oh, I've got one. So here we go. And if you look closely, it looks like it's saying 100. I've got to adjust that. I've got a string format on that to 2 decimal, but I'm going to change that back to the 0 as the rest of the damage that shows. And as you can see, they freeze, they can't move, and they stay in frozen for about 2 seconds, and they take a bit of cold damage, which is why that ticker is blue compared to just basic damage, which is white. So you can see there. Now this was what I worked on today. Today I did the barrels and these explosions. So like you got these big explosions, which does splash damage to everything that collides with the explosion. As you can see in those red damage tickers, that's damage from the splash, whereas the white damage was from the direct hit. And then we got smaller missiles. Just a few. So let's just clear up a bit and get some different weapons. So this would be an example of this is the music, or probably it's going to be for a different enemy, probably the fast enemies. But that's another thing, yeah, that's the enemy type that's going to be the fast enemy is, you know those Naruto runners, that they put their hands, I guess, behind them as they run. That's the model you're going to draw up for those enemies, and their move speed will be fast. So that's what I'm going for with this game, kind of a bit of memes and fun and action, but like the memes with the character models and the gun names, you know, I'm your last born, Dad Stepper, and it's just kind of adding a bit of comedy to the game, hopefully people will enjoy it more. As well, what I was going to show in the last Devblog, they all were white, the backgrounds, and the rarity type was just all set to common, But yeah, I've brought that back in because now I have all the collision and the loot set up. So like as you can see here, you'll see the random gen name and then the gun name here, and then before the gun name you'll have the rarity type. So for this one it's broken, which is the worst. Uncommons are a little bit better than the commons, and then you got, yeah, like if we switch this one up, we got damaged, which is just a bit better than broken. And then after uncommon is all the usual. So there's uncommon, rare, ultra rare, legendary, and unique, and they're all, if I get lucky in this video, you might see some of that. But the color here changes, and as well, if you see here, the color of the background there changes too. The bullets, I can't remember if that was being shown in the first devblog video, but now that's being shown. And if I'm going too quick with this is here too, shows it here. And then, yeah. So let's switch up all the guns. What else? Let's try this. This one will probably shoot all over the place. Oh no, it's still alright. We got auto waves. And then as well with the tiers. So we've got tier 1, this is, yeah, they're all tier 1 actually, so I've got quick, but this, where is it? Here. The Berserker launcher is tier 3, that massive missile is tier 4. So these won't actually drop. I've got all the loot dropping at the moment, so tiers 4 can drop now, and it's just to show off some of the weapons, but on release it'll just be first 10 waves, say tier 1, and then the enemies will get harder, and then the guns will get better, well, the drops will get better. So yeah, that's, this is just to show some of the guns. So see how it slowed down before, and there's the poison effect as well. To see how the game slowed down at the start of this video before, it's like it was having processing issues, but now with so many enemies, it's still running smooth. So I haven't figured out what the cause of the slowdowns are yet. I'm hoping to figure that out. I don't know if it's a thing of XNA or monogame or, yeah. So this song, this is for the more, this one will play on the epic waves. So I've just got this temporarily on wave 5. And the wave, if I'll go back to the spawn, because I've only got them spawning from this. There's supposed to be 6 spawn points, but I've only got 2 written up. And then they're only spawning from this first one, but what I'm going to do is have the 6 spawn points, they're the vector 2 coordinates, and the enemies will pick a random one to spawn at, and then spawn from that one. I just have to get around to doing it, because as well, how I get them moving into the level cleanly is after spawn for about 2 seconds, they move just forward, and then they start their aim at you detection. So here we can see a lot of enemies starting to appear. So with a tier 1 gun, there's no way we'll clear this. We'll have to keep moving around. And see, these zombies are very easy to kite, and especially because we've got them coming from the one spawn point. So that's because they're going to be the holy shit. Now that's now that's a bug that I haven't. Well, at least we got to see that. So what it's doing at the moment is, if I pause, that's a lot of barrels. It's not. There we go. So what it's actually doing is, because on the game start, your game starts on wave 0, and I use wave 0 to spawn in the barrel enemies, and I do it only once. And because the wave goes for 0 seconds, it spawns them in, and then it straight away goes to the transition wave from 0 to 1. So we only see the barrels spawn once, but what it's doing here is it's just temporary anyway, because I've only done 5 waves of enemies. But what it does is after wave 5 it just goes back to wave 0, and it's got a timer of 45 seconds. We'll just have to change that back to 0 temporarily. But yeah, that's why it's spawning about, what was it? It's spawning 8 barrels every frame. So yeah, 8 times 60 barrels a second. But it's slowing down the frame rate. So yeah, I guess I'll leave this video at that. There was probably more. And actually, yeah, I just remembered one thing. I added shadows as well. So the enemies and these have shadows. What else? Oh, that's so. Yeah, what else I'll go through is what's left to do before release. So with the new game, when I started this new game, it just went straight to this map. And what I'm going to do is once I add more levels, there's going to be a level selection. So you'll have a tutorial level, and that'll just go through some of the movement basics and show the dash, how you can dash through any object less than 256 width or 256 height. So there's actually, I'll add more objects like, say, what do you call them? Those thin, they're temporary fences kind of thing. You know, those short ones. I forget the name. So there'll be things like that. You'll collide with them, but you'll be able to just dash through them. And it's just like a little bit of a fun obstacle. So that's to do. And yeah, the levels. So I've got already a few levels in mind. This one's called Plains, and it kind of doesn't suit the theme of BattleCourt, because the other levels I'm going to add are going to be like a basketball court, a courtyard, and a court like a street, the end of a court. So there's 3 levels I'm going to add, maybe a space level, because yeah, with the alien enemies, they might suit that. So maybe a space court or something, and a courtroom. So they're all the different levels I have in mind so far, and if I get those out by release, I can still add more anyway, but trying to keep with that court theme. But I probably won't anyway. I'll just keep those for now and add whatever suits. But like this level here is the easy level because it's so open and large, and then the other levels will get a bit more difficult. Like there'll probably be a hallway type level as well, where your movement is limited, and that'll add a lot of difficulty to the game, not to that level. So yeah, and then like the courtroom, there'll be a lot of, what are they called, pews, where and they'll be all collidable, and that might get annoying, but that's part of the level. The basketball court would be, I guess, like the Plains, but smaller, and the courtyard would be kind of like a donut shape. It'll be like this, but within the middle of the courtyard is a giant water feature, so a pond, I guess, that you won't be able to walk through. So it'll just act as a giant donut. So your movement would be limited to that circle, or maybe even a figure 8. And then what else was there? Yeah, the end of the street court. Yeah, that will be more, I guess, like this, but a bit smaller. Again, with more details. So that's the other thing. So with which leads me to the next thing. There'll be a lot of more artwork and more objects in the other levels, and that leads me into the artwork, which is what I wanted to talk about as well. So I've done the artwork for all this, like the UI, the bullets, everything, the enemies, the player, the barrels, except for the level design, the level, so like the trees, the map itself, that actually I bought off the Unity store. There was a nice asset pack by, I wrote his name down, Daniel Thomas, and he made this tile set which you can recolor and do everything with, and it's really well designed. So I wanted to use that and bought that off the asset store there, and now using those assets. So as well, I'm going to be using that same tile set for those other levels, but you can, so say like the dirt is that brown color, but I can use that dirt, I'll recolor it dark grey, and that'll be asphalt, and recolor it orange. It can be the basketball court edges, and then the rest of the art, whatever I need, I can just do myself. It's just with this, I tried drawing all the levels and doing all that, and it just looks so bad. But I'm really happy with this asset pack. And yeah, so other than that, I'll try and do everything else myself with the art. The same with the explosion effects, the blood effects. Here, the blood stains that stay, I did all that myself as well. I was thinking to get an asset pack for that as well, but then I thought, oh, I can do it, and they came out pretty good. I'm happy with them, especially the blood splatter and that as well, and the explosion effects. I'm really happy with. So same with did the art for these little things. I might change them, but yeah, I'm overall happy with the art style and the direction I've gone for. Yeah, back to, so yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to talk about. The menu music's changed. That was everything. And by release, yeah, that's right, by release, other than what it's done, is the level selection. There's going to be a lot of secrets, some cheats, going to add achievements and Easter eggs. Modifiers I've got to go through and balance out. There's the options for the particle and blood limit, balance the waves, fix that UI overflow on the inventory screen, add a confused state, so that's another state that's going to be in the game, and some bullets will apply it, and that's just going to make the enemies confused and not aim at you, and they'll just, buzz around their area for a bit. Other than that, add the main menu. That's right, that's another thing I have to show you. I'll show you as I talk. But I've got to add the main menu background and the death screen background, and yeah, I didn't show you the death screen, but that's another thing I'll quickly show off. And keybinds, controller support, I haven't done much of the controller support, so I've got to fix that. It's not too long for controller support. Other than that, with all those things done, hopefully within the 2 weeks, that should be ready to go into the open beta. Before, I'll probably do a lot of testing and playing to make sure everything's fairly balanced and difficult enough and fun. So this is all that's in the death screen at the moment. That lovely hymn song that'll play when you die, and then here are the stats for how many waves you survived in the time. And you can go from here to new game, main menu, or quit. That's it for this at the moment anyway. Once I do the background, it'll be black, probably just have a picture of a gravestone. I don't know what else to add to this screen anyway, besides those 2 stats. Probably enemies killed as well, how many enemies killed. Yeah, that's, I think, everything I wanted to go through in this video. I don't think there's any point to do another video before release. Because of this one I went through quite a bit, and yeah, the rest I guess you'll see on beta release. Yeah, before that anyway, I still got to do the gameplay video right before release, and maybe a trailer, but my video editing skills is non-existent. That's why these videos are pretty much just one recording. I don't edit or anything. Same with the gameplay, it's just me recording it on OBS and then uploading it to YouTube, that's it. So, that's it. Yeah guys, thanks for watching. I hope this was a bit more informative and shows promise for the game. Alright, thanks.